kind enough to join us is Benson Henderson. Benson, my man, how are you?
I'm good, Errol. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure as always. Congratulations on a great run. I didn't want to do this, couldn't do this show without you after Friday. How do you feel on this Monday, 72 hours or so removed from the big announcement, the emotional evening? How is it all sinking in?
I feel pretty good. I feel not too bad. I feel comfortable with the decision. I did tell myself that, like you said, within these next 4 fights, I got to get a title shot. I got to win a title. That didn't happen. But if at any point I lose, that'll probably be it. If I lose, probably won't get another title shot if I'm there. If I lose at any point, I probably won't get to a title. I did get to a title shot. I lost that one. So about that time.
Now, you said this after on Friday, but correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't make that public. You didn't tell us this before the fight, like this scenario that if you lose. Was there any particular reason for that? You just didn't want that added pressure? You didn't want people to bother you about this? Any reason?
No reason. No one never asked me.
Okay.
I don't, certain things I don't always go out of my way to give my opinion on and talk about this and talk about that. No one ever asked about it, so I just never brought it up. But it was no secret. It was no mastermind plan or nothing like that.
Did you feel any more nervous on Friday going to the fight, knowing if this doesn't go my way, and let's be honest, that guy is incredible. Like, there was a chance, right? Did you feel like any emotions about this could be it? This could be the last walk. This could be, the end of it all.
No, I would say the last couple of fights, knowing that I was nearing the end of my career, I had a much more appreciation for everything, for talking to the media, for doing interviews, for the walk and all that stuff. But going to the fight on Friday night, I felt pretty confident. I felt like I was going to leave that cage with the belt around my waist, and I was happy. I was excited. Like, oh man, finally it's here. Finally, it's my time to finally get that third belt. I promised my wife a third belt, so I was going to get her a third belt. So I was excited. I was happy. I was ready to go. I was in the zone. It was just not my night. Usman got me.
How good is Usman Nurmagomedov?
He's pretty good. Not too many people are able to hop on my back and finish me. Damian Maia was on my back for 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Usman, he did a good job. He had a good question mark kick. Pretty advanced technique. Not the question mark kick itself, but the rear leg question mark kick. Not going with a teep, not a fake teep to the question mark kick, but he went from a body kick, inside leg kick, into a body kick, fake that to the question mark kick. That is a little bit more advanced of a technique to hit. I didn't see coming at all. Woke up, he was on my back. I was like, oh, something bad happened. Kind of replayed in my head a little bit. I was like, I think it had to be a question mark kick as he's punching me from on my back and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure it was a question mark kick. Man, I didn't see it at all. And then he was able to finish rear naked. It's not easy to do on me, So I think he's pretty good. I think he's pretty solid. 17-0 for a reason.
I was wondering out loud at the top of the show if he's a top 5 lightweight in the world, regardless of promotion. I think he is. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
I leave it. I never begrudge by their opinions.
Yeah.
The biggest mistake in this world that we all have our time with, our society as a whole, is begrudging somebody their opinion. If they don't like these pancakes, if they're not the best pancakes in the world, I don't think so. Oh, I'm going to kill you now. Oh, that escalated kind of quickly. Usman being top 5 on the planet, sure, no problem. I'm not going to argue. If someone says he's not top 5, sure, I'm not going to argue with you. I think he's pretty good. I think he did a great job. I think he did a great job. I think he's tough as set. I think he has a great skill set. Wrestling, kickboxing. Not a lot of guys have that kind of a skill set that he has.
Yes. By the way, how many kids you have now? 3?
I got 4.
Jeez Louise, 4. This is unbelievable. I remember when you had no kids. I remember when you were just about to have your first. You got
I know.
Now. Crazy.
So long ago.
Who's this?
This is Cub.
How old?
This is Cub Arthur. No. He's 5.
5. Unbelievable. And what's the age range?
I got my 7-year-old, He just lost his 2 front teeth. Two teeth. My 5-year-old, my baby brother, my 3-year-old, and the 2-year-old.
Nice. I love it. I love it. And so now you're just like a stay-at-home dad. You're just like a regular dad, picking up your kids, going to things. That's it.
Listen to mommy. Yeah. Stay-at-home dad now. Going to do all the drop the kids off at the school in the morning. Yeah. Before. Dropping the kids off in the school in the morning. Pick them up. You know, we're still going to have our nanny, so our nanny will still help out quite a bit. She helps out a lot. But man, I'm going to start doing it all.
So I was
coaching. My wife said, and coaching.
And coaching, of course. And we'll get to that in a moment. But I was talking about November 18th, 2006. You fought on Midwest Championship Fighting Genesis against someone named Dan Gregari, and you beat him in the first round. And then you think about like the road and the places and the venues and the fights and the opponents. That kid, could he have ever imagined this? Like, was this even in the cards for you, or you were just out there having a good time? Like, could you have ever pictured this?
Not at all. Not even close. I didn't picture none of this at all. Like I was never really badass cherry toughness in school. I was never like, oh, that kid's gonna be a fighter. Oh, he's super tough. He's really good. I was never the fastest, never the strongest, never the best, never the most aggressive, never the cherry toughness guy walking around. I was just, the skinny geek who was pretty good at wrestling, who just wouldn't stop. And then that turned into this.
Unbelievable. And at one point, like, when did you believe that you could actually make a career out of this? Like, even in those first fights, did you believe that this could be a thing, or did it take you getting to WC? Like, when did it start to feel like this is an actual thing that I'm really, really good at?
I think right out of college, I got hired to the Omaha Police Department and the Denver Police Department. I was deciding between the two when I took that fight in 2006, when I took that fight. And then I decided then that I was going to give it a shot. Like, I think I could be pretty good at this. We'll see. I at least wanted to give a shot at being a professional athlete. So I packed up all my stuff and I moved to Denver, Colorado to train with John Crouch and Alvin Kid Robinson. But it wasn't until a year later from then, they all moved down to Phoenix, Arizona, to train at this fancy new state-of-the-art gym called the MMA Lab. And I tagged along with them. I was like, hey, I want to come too, guys. I want to keep fighting. I think I can take this seriously, So I tagged along with those guys. And it was in Arizona that I decided, like, I think I have to do this like long term. I think this could be like a career type of thing.
Wow.
But it wasn't until I got to Arizona and I realized like how much more support I could have. It wasn't just me doing this and that, but it was also the support of my gym, my coaches, my training partners, like having it all kind of come together. It wasn't just faith in myself, but faith in my gym, my corners, the people around me, people helping me out, that kind of stuff. Where I realized, like, hey, I actually could, I think, make this a career type of thing.
My favorite, and there's a lot to choose from, but my favorite fight of yours probably is the October 2009 fight against Donald Cerrone, WC 43 in San Antonio, because that to me felt like you took like that next step, and also like the things that you were doing with your body. And that's where, we started calling you Bendo. And I know you never really loved that name, but it was just unbelievable. It was just an unbelievable fight. And then the rematch, was very one-sided and rather quick. We were all kind of buckling up for another 5-round classic, and it ended. For me, that was my favorite. Can you just indulge me for a moment? What do you remember from that night? Because it really felt like that was the night that you kind of arrived on the scene. Like, wow, the WC lightweights are as good as the UFC lightweights. This guy is as good. You know what I mean? What do you remember from that night?
Yeah. I first thing I always popped in my head for that fight was Donald's up kick. And I remember thinking, like, afterwards, years later, that up kick's like a dangerous thing. That could be a instant fight ender that changes the whole course of the yada yada. Luckily, he landed the up kick with about like 7 seconds left in the fight.
Yeah.
But if that had been like 1 minute earlier, if that would have been like in the first round, if that would have been any other time in the fight, that probably would have been the end of the fight. I couldn't have fought after that. So that's why I got the idea of up kicks, of them being dangerous weapons, dangerous things. That's the first thing that pops in my head. The next thing I popped in my head about that fight is that was when I knew, because I've done it in wrestling my whole career. I was never, again, the best. I was never the best technician. I was never fastest or strongest. I was never any of that stuff. But I always knew I could win in wrestling because I was going to push a pace. I was going to get the guy tired. I could always sell out and get my hand raised, knowing that I'm going to get the other guy exhausted. I'm going to get him so tired, and I could really give all of myself. I can let everything go. I can give all of myself in a wrestling match. I didn't know if I could do that in an MMA fight. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. And then the Cowboy fight, I knew that I could literally give all of me inside that fight. I could go out there and open my heart, lay it bare my soul. In the Cowboy fight, I think I had to do that. If I would have held anything back, if I had any reservations, if I would have just let literally all of me go in that fight, I'd have been carried out of the cage. If I would not have to be carried out of the cage, I would have lost that fight. And that fight is where I realized, oh, hey, I can do this in MMA. I can lay it all out there. I can bare my soul. And if I can do it once, I can do it again and again and again and again. And that's when I knew I started to have more belief in myself that, hey, I'm going to win every single fight because I can do this. I'm going to win every single fight because I can bare my soul and not hold anything back.
What's your favorite fight?
I don't really have a favorite.
You don't?
No. If anything, it's always the memories and what the extra stuff around the fights. I'll probably say, Gilbert, San Jose, being able to propose to my wife afterwards. Mm-hmm. Like, I am a little more of a private person. I don't like being out there with everything of my personal life, So being able to share a private moment, being able to share something small and special, being able to propose to my wife, being able to share it on the world,
a
big stage, a couple of million people watching. That was very special to me. That's something I'm always going to remember until the day I die,
Yeah, these young kids don't remember you fighting with a toothpick, and that's like, like it's so long ago now. It still blows my mind that like against Diaz you had the toothpick, right?
For a lot of fights I had the toothpick. Yeah, for a lot of fights, it was just a bad habit. I would literally go out to lunch or dinner or breakfast, whatever, and I have you have the toothpick in the restaurant. I would just I have it in. I would practice. I would do whatever. I'd leave it in for fights, but after my first kid, seeing him at 2 years old, 3 years old, run around with a toothpick in his mouth because he sees me with toothpicks, I had to cut it out.
Was it hard? Was it hard to let go of it?
Not as hard as I thought it'd be. Not as hard as I just started chewing gum more.
Okay.
I would just instead of a toothpick, I just have a piece of gum. So then I started chewing gum way too much, but it wasn't that hard.
And you never got injured, right? With the toothpick?
No, I never got injured. I had graduated high school. I graduated college, and I went home to surprise my mom. And she was I surprised her. She was coming down the stairs, and I had a toothpick in like I always do. And I was a little bit older. I was mature enough to realize how dumb that was, how not smart that was, how crazy it was. But I scared her, and I swallowed my toothpick.
Oh no!
And she was scared. She came downstairs. I went ha or boo, and then when I scared my mom, little short 4'9" Korean woman. So she was like ah. And then she saw me swallow my toothpick, and then she got really scared. Like then she got like the level of frightenedness on her face was hilarious. It was super funny. So I started laughing as I'm choking on my toothpick. I started laughing even more, and I swallowed the dang thing. But then, like I choked on. I was like and I was laughing even more. I ended up swallowing it, and I don't think anything happened. I don't think there's no permanent damage. I was like, am I okay? Like, is anything wrong with me? I went in the mirror, checked my mouth out. I was like, I think I'm okay. And my mom would hit me like, "What are you doing? Don't do that with the toothpick in your mouth." Oh my god!
And then you fought with it like a crazy person. Unbelievable.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple of times. Just a couple other things I wanted to ask you about. Is it weird for you that like you spend more time with Bellator than you did in the UFC, but it still feels like for some bizarre reason, like you're always associated, maybe because you won the belt there, even WEC. Does that blow you? Like, are you surprised when people tell you that? Or because I saw someone share the numbers on Friday, the amount of days you spent in Bellator as opposed to UFC. And I was actually kind of surprised. I was like, holy shit, time has flown. You were actually in, Bellator longer than the UFC.
Yeah. No, I think the amount of success inside WC, UFC underneath the Zuffa Corporation, I think I was on, UFC put me on Fox 2-3 times.
Yeah.
So whenever you're on, like prime time television, on Fox. Like I think a lot more of my like bigger fan base, it came from those, that Fox exposure, and even now still replays, they see Fox like, oh, it's like a, bigger platform, whatever. So I think that has to do with a lot of it. And then the success too, having the belts. Never had the belt in Bellator. Fought for it 3 times in Bellator, but I never had the belt. So I think that plays into it a little bit.
Yeah. I saw you get emotional on Friday night talking about Mike Hogan in particular. Was it Mike Hogan or was it everything? I mean, I know Mike. He's not exactly a teddy bear. Lovely guy, but like a real straight shooter. Why did you get emotional in that moment?
Mike's a good guy. I think it was Mike, but I think it was all of it. I think Mike, for me, captured just at that moment everything. He's been an awesome guy. He's a great guy. He is a straight shooter. He'll tell you if he doesn't like you.
Yes.
He won't sugarcoat it too much either. Like, no, I don't really like you. You're kind of annoying. I've literally heard him say it to people. I'm like, oh, Mike, that's kind of brutal. Like, I have to go honesty, but man, that's kind of brutal. You could have sugarcoated that a little bit, man.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't like you, he'll tell you. It's not that big a deal. But yeah, I have a great relationship with Mike. He has helped me out a lot. Couple, words of wisdom. Just dropping a sentence here, dropping a sentence there, and it was profound to me. It clicked. It made sense. I think he's just a great guy. I do love him to death, and he's helped me out a lot through my entire time through Bellator. He was my main contact.
A lot of tears on Friday, like when you went back to the hotel when you were with your family. Was it emotional?
I would say more tears reading all the text messages. I got 1,000 text messages, reading all the messages online. I do the online stuff too much. I peruse online real quick a little bit. But man, like all the messages from my buddies, from people I love, people I care about, and some strangers, not strangers, but people I didn't really know. I didn't expect such deep and kind words from. I was like, oh. Okay. So yeah, it was a good amount of tears. I'd say Friday night. But I don't know. I think it's to be expected.
Yeah, of course.
I think it was okay.
No, it was cool to see all the love that you were getting, the respect, especially from the fellow fighters. Was there one really unexpected one that hit you right in the heart that you mind sharing?
There were a bunch of them, man. I got just from fighters, UFC, former UFC, Bellator, former Bellator fighters, just from maybe 30 or so messages from different fighters.
Wow.
And a lot of them, people I wouldn't really expect to hold me in such high esteem, to have such nice things to say about me and how much I meant to them and yada yada, like that kind of stuff. Like, oh man, it was deep.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, dog. Thank you for the. I appreciate the words. I appreciate the kind words. That means a lot to me. Thank you. That they would go out of the way and take 2 minutes to send me a message. Even that it means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Do you care about this? Do you want to be in the UFC Hall of Fame? Would that mean something to you?
I would definitely appreciate it. My man said, if you live for the acceptance, you're going to die from their rejection. So while it would be nice to have that, any sort of accolade you get, it's cool, it's nice, it's awesome. It's not bad at all. It shows that people, the organization, that they appreciate what you've done and what you've accomplished. But at the same time, it's not something that you should live for. It's not something that you should be all about. If they don't give it to you, then it's gonna eat you up. You'll die from the rejection. So I think that if I ever were to get in the UFC Hall of Fame, that would be awesome. I am all about it. That'd be great. I'd show up there in a suit and tie and say thank you guys, that kind of stuff. But it's not something I'm going to campaign for. It's not something that I'm going to hold out on and cross my fingers, hold my breath, that type of thing. But yeah, for sure, I would have much respect, much appreciation for that kind of acknowledgement.
I'll campaign for it. You should be in there. If my vote mattered, it doesn't. I would campaign for you. You should 100%.
You don't vote for who votes for the UFC Hall of Fame, by the way?
There is no vote.
There's no vote?
No, it's just them.
Just the one guy?
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe a couple other people weigh in, but yeah, I mean, that's why there's some people who aren't in, and some people are faster. You know,
who would you say is the biggest?
Snub?
No, yeah. Who's the biggest that should be in the Hall of Fame right now?
Probably Frank Shamrock. It was
Frank's not in there, huh?
Frank's not in
I love
there.
Frank.
Yeah, he's a legend. Jen's.
I saw him. I met him for the first time. I shook his hand for the first time when Fedor fought Bader the last time. I geeked out. I got my phone. I took a selfie with him. I was like, Frank, I never do this. I'm not that kind of guy. Frank, I love you. I shook his hand. I took a selfie with him. I'm a huge Frank Shamrock.
Yeah.
I wish he was in there.
A pioneer, but like Jen's just got in. He should have been in a long time ago. And now it gets a little weird because there's like, these young, obviously DC and Khabib, those are Hall of Famers, but them getting in before an Anderson is weird to me. And Anderson Silva, like Anderson's not in there, that seems a little bit strange. So
Anderson, he's not in the Hall of Fame right now.
No. So it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
So you're going to transition now to your wife. Your wife is going for this. Like, she's not just like, I'm going to pop up here. Like, she wants to go and make a career out of this. She's going to go on a run.
She wants to make a career of it. She wants to be the best 115 pounder on the planet. For us, we don't fight for fun. We don't fight for celebrity. We don't fight to be famous. We don't fight for money. If I wanted to fight for money, I still be fighting for Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
There's no better way to prove it and say I don't fight for money. I don't fight for money. If I have 2 more fights from Bellator contract, I make another good amount of money. I don't fight for money. My wife doesn't fight for money. We fight to be the best on the planet. Once I really, came to the realization that, hey, I'm probably not going to fight for the belt again, and I'm good. My wife is the same way. She wants to be the best on the planet, and she's going to get there. And I'm gonna help her every step of the way.
I love it. Well, I wish you guys the best. Good luck. Congrats, man. Congrats on a great career. I always get a little emotional when guys from your era say goodbye because, you were the ones that spoke to me when no one, like we kind of came up together, and you were always very great and always gracious with your time. And it was amazing covering your fights. It really was an honor and a privilege. All your fights were great. So much love and respect to you. And I'm glad to hear you're still going to be around. And I can't wait to see what your wife does as well. And the whole MMA Lab team, you guys are killing it. And everything you said about the team is too. And I hold your friend and head coach, John Crouch, such high regard. He's such a great guy and has always been so kind to me and everyone as well in the sport. So much love to all of you. And congrats again on an incredible Hall of Fame career, because you are that, my friend.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. Those words mean a lot to me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you soon, my friend. There he is, Benson Henderson, one of the greats. And on Friday, he calls it a career.